So today we're going to talk about graphs and motion and being able to match a graph to a specific scenario. Before we can do that though, we want to look at the different types of graphs that we can see. When we're looking at graphs, whether it's distance versus time or speed versus time, we're really looking at motion, specifically looking at speed and what that speed looks like on the graph. Okay, so for distance versus time, when we have no motion, our graph is going to look like a flat horizontal line. Okay, so that's going to represent no motion. Distance is not changing. For constant motion, we're going to have a diagonal line, and that can either be diagonal going up or it can be diagonal going down like this. Either one is going to represent constant speed. Increasing speed is going to look like this. Notice right here we've kind of got a little stopped motion. Distance isn't changing, but then it's increasing in speed, and so it's going to go up like that. Decreasing speed is going to look like this. Again, if I look right here, I can see that it's going, it's slowing down, and then it comes to a stop. Okay, so speed versus time graphs are going to look a little bit different, and they're going to tell me something different about the speed or the motion that I am seeing. Okay, so we want to pay very close attention to the difference in our axis labels, because that's going to tell me something different about the motion that I'm seeing. So in a no motion speed versus time graph, I'm actually going to have the line down here on that axis line because speed is 0. For constant speed is going to be a straight horizontal line. So notice that a distance time no motion graph and a speed time constant speed graph look exactly the same. So the only difference is motion is obviously different, but my axis label is going to be different. So I need to pay attention to those axis labels because they are going to mean different things for motion. Okay, on a speed time graph, increasing speed is going to look like this. And then for a speed time graph, decreasing speed is going to look like this. So at this time, you want to go ahead and copy this down in your science journal or your notebook so that you have this and can use this on the next activity that we are going to do. So go ahead and pause your video and copy this little graphic down so that you have that for our next activity. Okay, so now we're going to look at the first couple problems on your assignment for today to kind of help get you started. And so number 1 says that Tom ran from his home to the bus stop and waited. He realized he had missed the bus, so he walked home. So what we see is we see Tom going at a high rate of speed, and then we see him stopping, and then we see him going slower, going back home, and that line is going to go back to 0 for distance because he's going back to where he started from. And so when we look at the graph that matches it, I see that this line right here is going to be a little bit more steep, and the reason that it's more steep is because he is going at a faster rate of speed. So even though my axis label is distance versus time, I can still see how fast that speed is based on the steepness of the line. So the steeper my line, the faster I'm going, less steep, not going as fast. So it's still representing constant speed, but what speed is that constant speed at? Okay, so this line right here is going to be a little bit more steep because he is running, but then right here he stops. And so that's why that line flatlines, because distance isn't changing, so there's no motion. And then again, I still have constant speed, but he's not walking as fast, and so that line, or he's not going as fast, so that line is not going to be as steep. So this represents constant speed, no motion, constant speed, okay? But we're going constant speed fast, no motion, constant speed slow. Okay, so problem 2 says opposite of Tom's home is a hill. Tom climbed slowly up the hill. So again, I've got a distance versus time graph, but when I look at this line right here, notice it's not as steep. That's because he is climbing up the hill. You're going to go slower as you move up the hill than you are as you move down the hill. And so my line right there is representing constant speed, but it's showing that he's not moving very fast. Then this line right here represents that he has some constant speed, but he's picked up his pace a little bit because he's walking across the top. And then again, this line right here is representing constant speed, but he's going much quicker down the other side of the mountain. Okay, the reason that it doesn't come back down is because it's distance away from home. He's still moving away from home, even though he's coming back down the mountain. Okay, so that's why it's going to continue to go up. So what you're going to do is you're going to match your graphs with your scenarios in the quiz assessment in Schoology for today. If you have questions, go ahead and ask me. Let me know what you're not understanding so that I can help you. If you get one wrong, it's totally okay. I've set it so that you can make as many attempts as you need to get them all correct. So let me know if you have any questions.